Imagine paying like a $50,000 signing bonus to a new elite sales rep.
Yeah, that would be a massive investment.
Right. And then only to discover on day one that they don't actually know your product.
Oh,
Yeah, and they occasionally just invent company policies out of thin air.
that is a nightmare scenario.
And to top it off, you have to hire a full-time engineering team just to keep them from hanging up on your customers.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds incredibly frustrating.
It really does. So today we are taking a deep dive into the operational reality behind all this viral marketing of AI sales reps.
Because there has been a lot of hype lately.
Oh, absolutely. For anyone paying attention to the tech space, you have undoubtedly seen the aggressive marketing for Air AI.
Right, they're positioning themselves as like the first true AI sales rep.
Exactly. We are looking at a comprehensive May 2026 article from the Service Agent blog. It's by Shamhav, and it's titled Air AI Review 2026 Pricing Reviews Alternatives.
It's a really detailed breakdown.
It is, and our mission today is to cut through that hype. Whether you are an operator actively looking to automate your workflows, or you're just insanely curious about the bleeding edge of business tech.
Yeah, we need to look at the massive price tags and the absolute storm of 1.2-star controversies surrounding this platform.
Okay, let's unpack this. The viral marketing shows you a Formula One car dominating a perfectly paved, closed track. It looks flawless.
Right, in a controlled environment.
But taking that specific software into the messy reality of actual sales calls is a lot like driving that same Formula One car through a chaotic, unpredictable city intersection.
It's just not going to end well.
No. It stalls almost immediately unless you have a dedicated pit crew of engineers constantly tuning the engine.
Well, what's fascinating here is that the underlying engine genuinely is powerful.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to establish right away that we are not looking at vaporware.
Wait, really? So the technology actually works?
It does. The technology works. The controversy we are exploring today stems entirely from the massive friction between how this software is marketed.
As a turnkey, out-of-the-box human replacement.
Exactly. The friction
Sure.
between that marketing and the intense mechanical reality of deploying complex artificial intelligence in a live business environment.
So it's a fundamental mismatch between buyer expectations and technical reality.
Yeah, precisely.
To understand that friction, I guess we first have to look at what made the tech go viral in the first place.
Right, because it's not just a basic FAQ bot that tells you what time the store opens.
Yeah, the core capability that Air AI built its brand on is the duration and the complexity of the conversation.
They really specialize in 10 to 40-plus minute calls.
Which is wild. Handling a 40-minute call is incredibly computationally expensive, right?
Oh, absolutely. It means the AI has to maintain context through dozens of conversational turns.
Like navigating a full discovery process and handling dynamic objections.
Yeah, which is a massive leap from just routing a phone call to a department. The engineering required to maintain that state over 40 minutes is substantial. In conversational AI, the system holds what we call a context window.
A context window, what is that? Like a working memory?
Basically, yeah. It's a working memory of what has been said during the session.
Yeah.
So over 40 minutes, keeping track of a prospect's initial pain point, and then recalling a budget constraint they mentioned 15 minutes earlier, and using that information to counter a specific objection.
Oh, wow. That requires incredibly sophisticated memory management.
It really does. Furthermore, the platform includes the functional infrastructure, like built-in dialer integrations, to actually run outbound campaigns at scale.
So it is a heavy-duty piece of architecture.
Definitely.
But wait, if the tech can genuinely handle that kind of computational load and execute a 40-minute objection handling call, my instinct is that the backlash isn't about the code failing.
Right, the code itself is capable.
So it has to be about the friction of implementing it.
Wow.
Are buyers simply vastly underestimating the sheer amount of technical configuration required?
You are hitting on the exact mechanism causing the frustration. In the industry, we know this as the demo-to-production gap.
The demo-to-production gap.
Yeah. When you watch a viral demo of Air AI on social media, you are seeing a highly constrained dialogue tree.
Right. The script is perfectly optimized.
The latency is minimized, and the human tester on the other end is playing along exactly within the parameters the AI expects.
So it looks like magic.
It does. But when you move to production, human prospects are messy.
Oh, I bet. They interrupt constantly.
Exactly. They interrupt, they ask convoluted two-part questions, where the first part is about pricing, and the second part references a highly specific niche software integration.
And the real world doesn't stick to a carefully crafted script.
No, it doesn't. When an unpredictable human input hits the system, that AI's context window can easily get overwhelmed.
It just loses its place in the prompt hierarchy.
Right. And mechanically, this is what leads to a hallucination, where the AI confidently invents information or just an awkward silence.
And eventually, I assume the call just drops.
Yeah, it drops. To prevent that from happening in a live environment, you need constant tuning, negative prompting, and rigorous edge case testing.
So it is a highly configurable tool for developers, not a plug-and-play employee.
Exactly.
Well, if you combine a product that requires months of tuning to work with an incredibly high price tag, you're essentially creating a ticking time bomb for a small business's cash flow.
It is a massive risk.
Which brings us to the financial side of this. If this was like a $20 a month subscription, businesses would just cancel it when they realized it needed an engineering team.
Yeah, they just walk away.
But the numbers in this source material are genuinely staggering for the small and medium-sized businesses they are targeting.
They really are. According to the 2026 review, there is no transparent published pricing on their website.
And no standard free trial to test the waters, right?
None. Instead, buyers face a massive enterprise tier model. We are talking about a $25,000 to $50,000 upfront license fee just for access to the platform.
Just for access. That is wild.
And that initial check only gets you through the front door. It does not include the ongoing usage charges for the compute time.
Right, because every minute the AI is on the phone costs money.
Exactly. On top of that, because the system requires the intensive technical tuning we just discussed, businesses frequently find themselves having to pay premium support fees just to get the system functional.
Oh, man. So the review estimates that a typical year-one contract ultimately costs anywhere from $30,000 to $80,000.
Yeah, usually locked into a 12-month minimum commitment.
So what does this all mean? This is like being forced to sign a 12-month lease for a commercial bakery before you're even allowed to test if the oven turns on.
That is the perfect analogy. If we connect this to the bigger picture, this specific pricing model creates a massive pre-purchase information asymmetry.
Because the vendor knows exactly how difficult the implementation will be.
Right. But the buyer only knows the viral, highly controlled demo they saw online.
Yeah. I mean, for a Fortune 500 company, a $50,000 failed software deployment is a rounding error. They absorb it and move on.
Sure, but for a mid-market HVAC company, a roofing contractor, or a local real estate brokerage,
sinking $50,000 into a tool that cannot immediately start generating ROI is a devastating sunk cost.
it really is. To put this into proper market context, standard voice AI infrastructure alternatives currently charge in the low single-digit cents per minute.
Wow, cents per minute, paying only for the exact compute time you use with zero upfront gatekeeping fees.
Exactly. It's a totally different model.
I'm guessing that specific financial pain is exactly what triggered the Federal Trade Commission's involvement.
Yeah, the FTC definitely noticed.
You don't get the FTC knocking on your door just because your software has a few bugs or drops a call.
No, you get the FTC involved when a large number of consumers feel fundamentally misled about the terms of a massive financial transaction.
Right. And looking at the public feedback patterns from late 2025 and throughout 2026, the paper trail of buyer's remorse is brutal.
It is. The Trustpilot rating across hundreds of reviews sits at around 1.2 stars.
1.2 stars. That is rough.
The review categorizes these consumer complaints into 4 major clusters. And the sequence of these clusters perfectly maps the disastrous buyer's journey.
Okay, let's break those down. What's the first cluster?
It starts with aggressive sales tactics. Customers report high-pressure environments, specifically the use of intense false urgency.
Like what kind of urgency?
Tactics like the sales rep claiming the onboarding price will double if the prospect doesn't sign the contract on that very first call.
Oh, wow. Here's where it gets really interesting. Air AI is ostensibly selling an advanced, futuristic artificial intelligence designed to completely replace human sales reps.
Yeah.
Yet, to sell that futuristic product, they are relying on the most aggressive, high-pressure, old-school human sales tactics imaginable.
The one-call close on a $50,000 contract.
Exactly. What does that tell you? That tells you they are actively trying to bypass the buyer's logical evaluation phase.
It strongly suggests a business model optimized for upfront extraction rather than long-term retention.
Right. Because when you are buying complex enterprise architecture, the standard safe process involves technical vetting,
Looping in your IT department, running a pilot program to test the capabilities,
But forcing a one-call close strips all of those safety rails away.
which directly leads to the second complaint cluster.
The realization of the demo to production gap.
Exactly. Once the contract is signed and the money has changed hands, buyers log into the system and the reality sets in.
They discover they essentially need a full-time prompt engineer and a developer to get the AI to stop hallucinating or dropping calls during complex human interactions.
Right, and when they hit that technical wall and realize they're completely over their heads, they desperately turn to the third cluster.
Customer support.
But deploying a system this intricate requires deep, hands-on architectural support during the critical 30 to 90-day deployment window.
And I'm guessing they don't get it.
Buyers are reporting that once that massive upfront check clears, the support becomes incredibly slow or outright unhelpful.
Leaving them stranded with a highly complex engine they just don't know how to tune.
Which brings us to the fourth and final cluster, post-purchase inflexibility.
When a business owner realizes within the first few weeks that the software is fundamentally incompatible with their operational reality.
Or their technical skill set, yeah.
Yeah.
Getting a refund or canceling that 12-month commitment is reported to be nearly impossible.
So they are locked in, both contractually and financially, to a system they cannot use.
It's a tough situation.
So if the market clearly wants voice AI, because the demand for business automation is obviously massive right now, but they are aggressively rejecting this $25,000 upfront model, who is actually capturing that demand?
Well, the 2026 alternatives landscape presented in the source shows that the market has fundamentally segmented.
So we aren't just looking at a list of clones.
No, we're looking at completely different philosophies on how AI should be employed in a business.
Okay, what's the unifying theme across these successful alternatives?
It's a shift away from the all-in-one human replacement fantasy toward transparent, scalable infrastructure.
Yeah.
The market is proving a very clear maxim. AI shouldn't be bought as an employee. It should be bought as infrastructure.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So let's look at the first philosophical approach, which is the productized solution for service businesses.
Right. The source specifically highlights Service Agent.
Instead of an enterprise monolith trying to do everything for everyone, Service Agent focuses heavily on local services.
Things like HVAC, plumbing, roofing, dental offices.
And it operates on a highly transparent, flat, $69 per user per month model.
Which is incredibly refreshing compared to $50,000 up front.
Seriously, and the key differentiator for Service Agent seems to be its native CRM sync.
Yeah, for those who might not live in software acronyms every day, a CRM is your customer relationship management tool.
Right, the database where you keep all your client info.
Exactly. Service Agent integrates directly into the platforms these trades actually use, like Service Titan, Jobber, Housecall Pro, and Follow Up Boss.
So it's not trying to hold a 40-minute philosophical debate to close a complex deal?
No, it is doing the exact mechanical task the business needs. Answering the phone when the dispatcher is busy, capturing the lead's information, and booking the appointment directly onto the calendar.
Precisely. It solves a specific identifiable operational bottleneck rather than trying to reinvent the entire sales floor.
Now, the second philosophical approach is for the builders.
The companies that want total control over the architecture.
Right. For this, the review points to platforms like Retail AI, Vapi, and Bland AI. These platforms cater directly to developers and technical teams.
Let's talk about Retail AI and Vapi. They are known for having strong open APIs, right?
Yeah. In software, an open API means your developers can easily connect the AI engine to your existing proprietary databases or communication tools.
And they charge in the low single-digit cents per minute.
So you get the underlying power to build complex conversational logic, but you aren't paying a massive gatekeeper fee to access it.
That's awesome. And Bland AI operates similarly, right? Pricing around 9 cents a minute.
Yeah, but Bland AI offers what they call a Pathways Visual Flow Editor.
A visual flow editor essentially replaces the need to write raw code.
Exactly. Instead of staring at a complicated command line, you look at a digital whiteboard and drag and drop conversational blocks.
Like drawing a map that says, if the customer says X, route the conversation to Y.
Yep, which bridges us perfectly to the third approach, the purely no-code platforms.
Okay, so the review highlights Synthflow for this, right?
Yes, Synthflow is the go-to platform for marketing agencies and non-technical operators.
People who want to visually map out conversations using those drag-and-drop tools without writing a single line of code.
All while maintaining that transparent, pay-as-you-go pricing.
And finally, there is the approach prioritizing sheer output fidelity.
Right, 11 Labs conversational AI is cited as the absolute leader when voice quality and latency are your top priorities.
So if your specific use case requires the synthetic voice to sound entirely indistinguishable from a human with natural breathing patterns and perfect pacing, that is the infrastructure you choose.
What this landscape shows us is that voice AI doesn't have to be an all-or-nothing enterprise-level gamble.
Absolutely. With all these highly capable, transparent, and significantly cheaper alternatives on the market, it begs the question of whether Air AI makes sense for anyone at this point.
The source doesn't completely write them off.
No, but it forces the buyer into a very sobering thought experiment to see if they fit an incredibly narrow, ideal customer profile.
This raises an important question for anyone evaluating voice AI right now, structured as a 5-part decision framework.
Let's walk through that framework. The first 2 parts are purely structural.
First, do you actually have a $30,000 to $80,000 budget for year 1?
And second, do you have an in-house, dedicated technical team to tune the models, manage the context windows, and oversee the deployment?
If you cannot answer yes to both of those fundamental questions, the evaluation stops there.
Right. You are a candidate for the API or no-code alternatives, not the enterprise monolith.
The third part of the thought experiment is where you really have to look in the mirror regarding your own business operations.
Do you genuinely need 10 to 40+ minute conversational capabilities?
I want you to imagine your daily workflow right now.
Is your core bottleneck truly the inability to conduct an hour-long, highly nuanced discovery call?
Or are you just losing revenue because the phone rings 5 times and goes to voicemail during the lunch rush?
Exactly. Paying an enterprise premium for deep reasoning capabilities when you just need an appointment booked on a calendar is fundamentally misallocating your resources.
It is severely over-engineering a simple operational problem.
So what are the final 2 pieces of the framework?
They assess your organizational risk tolerance. First, are you financially prepared to absorb a 12-month lock-in if the deployment fails?
And second, have you deeply analyzed the public customer feedback, the FTC complaints, and the Trustpilot reviews?
The consensus from the analysis is that unless you are a large enterprise with massive budgets, deep technical benches, and an extreme tolerance for risk,
you are stepping into a highly precarious operational trap.
definitely, it is a profound lesson in how genuinely powerful technology can be completely overshadowed by a predatory go-to-market strategy.
So to synthesize everything we've unpacked today, the underlying technology of Air AI is mechanically sound.
Right, and technically capable of handling complex, long-form conversational logic.
However, the operational reality of deploying it requires immense technical tuning that is rarely communicated up front.
When you combine that intense implementation friction with non-transparent enterprise pricing,
Aggressive one-call close sales tactics and restrictive yearly contracts.
it creates a toxic environment for small and medium-sized businesses.
For those SMBs, the market has clearly spoken. Transparent, productized alternatives like Service Agent or scalable infrastructure platforms like Retail and Synthflow are the far safer and more effective paths forward.
Ultimately, the strength of an underlying algorithmic model is only one variable in the equation.
Right. The business architecture surrounding that model, the implementation support, the integration capabilities, and the financial flexibility determines whether the technology actually drives value or just burns cash.
Which leaves us with a final provocative thought to ponder as we wrap up.
Oh, I love a good thought experiment.
If we project this exact trend forward, let's say the underlying large language models and voice generation technologies continue to commoditize.
Okay, so we are rapidly approaching a baseline where every platform's AI will sound perfectly human and every system will possess deep conversational reasoning.
Right. When the artificial intelligence itself is no longer the unique differentiator, what actually separates the winners from the losers in this space?
Wow. Will it be the AI's theoretical ability to argue objection handling for an hour without breathing?
Or will the ultimate competitive advantage be the most unartificial traits imaginable?
Things like transparent pricing, flexible contracts, and honest, highly responsive human customer support.
It is deeply ironic that in the race to build the ultimate artificial human, the technology companies that actually survive might just be the ones that choose to act the most human to their customers.
You can buy all the expensive software components in the world, but if the company selling them to you leaves you in the dark, that elite sales team you thought you were hiring is never going to materialize.
You're true.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. And as always, keep questioning the hype.